We've had the conversation the last few nights about how, listen, if you're really the face of the league or someone people want to make the face of the league and Ant Edwards, you got to show up, right? We'll have more on Ant Edwards coming up later on this hour. But I told you, why did I pick the Thunder to win? Why did I pick the Thunder? Look, I know that SGA was going to be a more consistent superstar throughout this series, and he was. And SGA and SGA was there and led the Thunder every single game, right? I mean, this is a guy that gets rewarded with the MVP in the middle of this series, and he shows everybody why he was the MVP in the NBA this year. 31, 38, 14 in a loss. Okay, I got not saying
that was
game.
The throwaway-ish
38,
game. Yeah.
40, and 34. Okay? He led them to the NBA Finals. And Edwards had 2 games at least where he didn't show up, and I don't know that he really knows offensively when he needs to push, when he doesn't, right? Like that's the whole thing with Ant Edwards, but yet still he's so athletic and he's so good, and he has the sweatband on his arm like Jordan. He's Jordan. You want to really have a real good face of the league conversation about who could be that? This is your guy. SGA is your guy. This is a guy who suddenly has led the Thunder, as you heard Matt Pinto say, not a day out of first place this year. He wins the MVP. They are into the NBA Finals and will enter as an overwhelming favorite to win this series in probably 5 games. SGA has shown in a very short amount of time, still 25 years old, that he is the best all-around player playing in the game right now. That is exciting. That is someone that you can push and say, hey, this guy is really just getting started. He just wins the MVP now. He's really just getting going. Everybody loves him. Everybody loves SGA. He doesn't have any detractors. Everybody say, well, I wish he would do this more. He would do this. He would do this. He is universally loved. This is your face of the league in the NBA.
Well, I mean, you have the obvious of the free throw merchant. Well, he didn't need to do it today because they beat the absolute snot out of these guys. Only had to go to the line 4 times. So that's always in the back pocket. And that's the thing to remember, right, is that it's there when you need it. And you can lean into it. And certainly Anthony Edwards in this game tried to. He just didn't get the calls, at least early on when it was still a kind of a game. But for SGA, the only thing that comes against him is he's playing for the Thunder. Well, if they go on a run, and this is where it gets interesting, right, is where we've been talking about parity and where the league is and trying to figure out power shifts and balances. And whenever a team starts to look like they're coming together, it's like, are we crown them? Right? It's going to be, all right, there's a dynastic run. It has to happen. Yeah. And then it falls apart after a year. A couple of guys get hurt, and we move on to the next shiny object. Thunder, with all their draft picks, with a young core, they're not going anywhere for a while. So now this has the opportunity to gestate. And I like that it gets to just build to that point, as opposed to you're the guy, which is what we do usually after a series.
Yeah.
Or a couple of, or a month and a half of basketball like we did with Edwards. Didn't mean we didn't like him last year, but all of a sudden in the playoffs has a couple of monster performances. It's like, yeah, crown that guy. He fits the suit. Going back to the Johnny Bravo reference that DeSager made, and all of that stuff. But it's the idea that it can build to make him the guy, right? Because we've had Jokic and there's an appreciation, but he's 7 feet. So no matter what else he does, he's 7 feet. He's not a guy that everybody knows stuff about, except he's got a couple of brothers, and that he likes to hang out with his horses. That's it. Mm-hmm. Okay, what do you do with that? You got Giannis. Like, there's always that arm's distance with the international guys for some reason. By the way, Shai is Canadian. So is that a problem?
No, you can still be good.
Because are we going to acquire them? Because then that makes it easier for him to then become the face.
Well, that's a big bargaining chip for Canada. Saying, "Hey, you can't have SGA." Well, I don't know. No, all right, we got to go back. We got to come back with something else.
A lot of negotiation. I mean, he is your MVP. But to your point, I mean, it's now on the table, assuming they go and they take care of business against, we'll just say for sake of argument, the Pacers. And then coming into next year, they'll be the prohibitive favorites unless there's some substantive change that happens out of the blue that this core returns and will be ready to defend their title. And you still have draft picks to go and fill in anything that you perceive to be holes. It's a very dangerous place for the rest of the Western Conference.
SGA is your face of the league. I mean, there's nowhere else to go because look, he checks every box that you want from a guy. You want somebody who is exciting? Yes. Who's dominate? Yes. Is he interesting when you hear him talk? Yes. Do his teammates love him? Yeah. Every interview he does, his teammates stand with him. They love the guy. I mean, really, this
well,
is
but that's
what
the thing.
you want,
It's always
right?
been about team. It's like I've got my guys with me.
Yeah, I don't know why we keep pushing and why the push to make Anthony Edwards happen or somebody else happen. Like, this is like, okay, you're really looking too far, and now here it is, and maybe this is the anointment of him getting to the finals, which he's probably going to win. Okay, all right. Here's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You're face of the league.
Yeah, the word anointment sounds.
I like it. I like anointment.
It hits the ear wrong, but I would say this for the Anthony Edwards. Those that push that part of the narrative. It's just the easy one-to-one video comparisons. Because SGA is smooth as hell, but it's not a lot of explosive plays, right? Gets to the rim, gets to the foul line. We talked about it earlier in the series. Is there such a thing as a quiet 38 points?
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy that does it fairly consistently.
Yeah.
Right? It I guess goes to some of the Jokic and other players of that ilk where it's, all right, they get their stats, but it's not going to dot the highlight reel. Like it becomes the long story tell to get to, all right, watch how surgical this is over the course of a game versus, hey, here's Ja Morant flying over people. Like he's Evel Knievel.
Yeah.
Flying over would-be, centers and those trying to stand in the way. So with SGA, we don't have a lot of those. That's a nice looking layup. Okay. He dunked today, and it became a highlight.
Yeah, well,
immediately, it was like, "Hey, he dunked."
Remember, not every one of Jordan's highlights was always something where it was, "Hey, look how great." Sometimes it was just, "Hey, I'm coming down, I'm hitting a 15-foot jumper." Okay, but counts just like the others, and I mean that's a killer there. I mean, it doesn't always need to be,
but it's just a different sell point now, right? That's 30 years of lore, and the way the game was digested. Versus our short attention span theater of today.
And now you have a hole for who is the next. We went from Jordan to a little bit of Kobe to LeBron, and now what it is now LeBron is going. This is your guy, man. This is your guy.